What is up, people? It is MewMonster58 and welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio Series Voyager class Bumblebee movie, Skywarp. And so, when it comes to Skywarp here, this is a figure that we've seen many a times, specifically with Starscream as well as Thundercracker, and I believe once with Blitzwing with that green variation. I might be wrong, but I know that there was a green variation of this mold as well. And so, speaking of the two that were released before, at least the two of the main Seekers, Starscream and Thundercracker, this guy's obviously just going to be a slight variation of the mold, but it has the same transformation, the same accessories, everything along those lines is pretty much the same, but it is really nice to finally have all three of the Seekers as we'll compare them, and I'll show you the slight differences and changes that they did make to make Skywarp more distinguishable from his counterparts in Starscream and Thundercracker. But taking a look at the box here, is a very nice artwork of Skywarp. This is how we saw him, at least for the few seconds that we did see him in the movie, but very nice nonetheless. Studio Series Skywarp, Decepticon logo there, 113. We do have that scene that looks like a refinery or some sort of base. It's in one of the opening first scenes is that backdrop that we get. We do have more nice artwork there on the side. We have more nice artwork here. Voyager Class Studio Series 113. And obviously your obligatory product shots. Transforms in 29 steps. But yeah, as per usual, Hasbro usually kills it with the box. And so without further ado, alrighty folks, here we have the Transformers Studio Series Voyager Class Bumblebee movie Skywarp in his Tetrajet mode, or at least what their idea of a remodernized Tetrajet mode would look like, and this looks great. I always loved how these Tetrajets looked because they're just really freaking cool all around. Like, I just really love how they went about the design of this. Now, it looks kind of ridiculous, but it's also just really cool. It's definitely an awesome mix of sort of an Earth mode jet with Cybertronian stuff on it. So really cool stuff. You take a look at this purple. You do have this sort of drab gray, which is definitely, like, I'm just going to off-screen this for a second. Yeah, it's a bit of a darker gray in comparison to Starscream as well as what a Thundercracker has. But you can see here on Skywarp, it looks really good. You do have the nice Decepticon logos in black here on both sides of the wings. You can also see the nice purple bits. Nice purple here, purple here, purple here. You have the nice cockpit, very nicely painted with the transparent plastic as well as the dark gray bits here on the side. Taking a look at the side here, you can see the nice jet boosters also painted here, nice gray here, more purple here for the center part of this wing or whatever that would be called on sort of a jet. And taking a look at the bottom here, again, it's really cool. There's only two major issues I've always had with this Tetrajet mode that they have. So the first one is this part up here. This part, specifically on this guy, and even on Starscream and Thundercracker, this does not tab in very well, and so I end up just kind of leaving it like this, and it's annoying to me because I notice it, and I'm one of those people that if I notice something and it bothers me, it will never not bother me again because I'll always notice it. So, like, for example, I'll throw a picture on screen. If you guys are a fan of Pokemon, my favorite generation will always be Generation 4. And so I played a lot of it as a kid, and one of the things that, and I still play it, because I love Pokemon. It's my favorite series, media franchise of all time. But when it comes to playing that game, if you guys know the Pokemon Heatran, the legendary Pokemon of volcanoes in Sinnoh, if you end up catching it and then you look at the back and you look at it from the front, I hope you guys won't get mad at me if I point this out. His head ornament looks like a plane, like a little toy plane. Right? I don't know if you guys can see that, but completely random segue, but I just wanted to point out that this is like one of those things where I will never not notice it again. So it is annoying. And the other thing is that although this secures in just okay, the gun, his accessory always, is pretty loose in there. So very easy to just sort of, flop it out like that by just shaking it. But overall, still a really cool Tetrajet mode. Very cool. And the other accessory that you do have are both of these guns, essentially his null rays. So these are pretty much the same. They're identical, but they are in the nice molded black plastic with a nice detail. So pretty cool. If you want to peg them in, you can either peg them in using the 5mm here, or you have that little peg right there, and then you'll have a little slot right there, and then you can just, because that's how the instructions show it, you just slot them in like this. Takes a little bit of doing. What I will say is that either or of the two ports you decide, come on, ports, there you go, that you decide to put it in, It is decently loose in there. I mean, they are tight, but if you knock them hard enough, they'll just fall right out. The wings, they can go up and down like this. I'll just show that because it's articulation, right? The closest thing to articulation for this jet mode. But yeah, overall solid. Looking from this, I mean, it looks like Skywarp, right? Especially if you've seen Starscream, you've seen Thundercracker, this is definitely your Skywarp. The only other complaint I do have, I know I said I only have a couple complaints, but this is the last one. I wish there was a bit more purple. Just a little bit more. Not a lot, just a teeny bit more purple that is visible on the jet mode, and I would have been more happy with it. But overall, really, really like how this looks. I've always liked how this mold looks personally. And so, we are going to be doing comparisons, so we're going to set this guy off to the side here. Alright folks, here we have him with the Deluxe Class Magnus, as per usual. As you can see, there is a massive size difference. This is, I'm going to say, the one thing also I appreciate about this mold, he's a big Voyager. Like, this is a big Voyager. Like, these guys are absolutely massive. So, you can see the massive size difference here. I'll even just put it like this. You can see it there. Very, very much taller, very much wider, and very much more girthy than Magnus. But yeah, just to give you guys a general idea of how big this guy is in comparison to other figures, he is definitely a very good size Voyager. And here we go, guys. We do have all three of these Seekers, the original main three Seekers, in their Tetrajet modes all together, and they look really, really good together. Now, sorry about not being able to see all of them totally. I just do not really have the space to show them off in the best way, but I'll do my best here. You can see here's all three of them sort of lined up as best as I can get them. We have Skywarp here, Starscream here, Thundercracker here. We're going to go and compare them just a little bit. You can see that Skywarp and Thundercracker do share some design things, like those little designs on the wings, like the gray bits here are the dark gray bits here. You can see that they share some stuff. Overall, very, very nice. You can see red Decepticon logo, black Decepticon logo. You can also see the Decepticon logos are different ways around. So you got the Decepticon logo here is facing this way. The Decepticon logo is facing the other way on this guy. The stripes are pretty much the same, just different colors. You can see that this is more of a darker, dark gray rather than this, which is a much more black for the jet boosters. Overall, again, are they pretty much exactly the same? Still, yes, but they do have nice things to distinct them from one another. And then we'll just put Thundercracker off to the side there, and then we will bring in Starscream. You can see where these guys share some stuff. Pretty nice overall. Starscream, obviously being sort of the leader, does have some differences. He doesn't have like that detail here on the side. Also, the Decepticon logos are facing the other way. His are also purple instead of black. You can see the red striping here is different from the way that the wings are on here. You know, the striping is completely different on there. You can see the striping here is even a bit different. You know, you get that little extra white stripe going through here. While here you don't get that extra purple going through here, not even on the other side. But yeah, you can see the distinct differences between these guys, but overall they still look like they're all part of a squad, and I'm very, very happy that we are finally able, and I'm going to see if I can get this nice shot, to have all three of these Seekers from the Bumblebee movie now as possible display pieces for a collection. So really, really cool stuff, and Skywarp looks fantastic among his kin. Alrighty, the one last thing I'll show is that you do have this little joint here too on both wings. You can do that. That's mainly for transformation, but it's there. And so, with that all out of the way, it's time to get into the transformation, and I'm not showing it. We've seen this mold plenty of times. You guys have probably seen this mold transform plenty of times, and so without further ado, we are going to take Skywarp from his Tetrajet mode, and we'll turn him into his robot mode. And taking a look at his robot mode, this is where the purple comes out, and this is where it actually looks really, really nice. I'm very happy with how this guy looks. You can see very nice head sculpt, very nice silver there for the face. You can see the red there, barely for the eyes. You can see the nice purple. Everything looks good. You have the nice, you even have nice like silver painted, gunmetal painted thighs here. Nice going down here. He just looks really good. And the only thing about this mold is that it's very wide. Now, this is the design in the movie. I'm not going to deny that. But at the same time, this guy isn't going to fit the easiest on any shelf, right? He's a very wide Transformer, especially given how big he is. He's actually, I believe he's bigger than Earthrise Optimus Prime, which is how tall this Voyager is. This is a big Voyager, so yeah, looks really, really good otherwise. Like, overall, like, I can't really complain with how this guy looks. Again, just a repaint and a slight variation of the mold that we know in question. But, as per usual, we are going to be doing our size comparison. So we're going to set Skywarp off to the side there. Here he is with Magnus. As you can see, he is huge. Like, this guy is absolutely massive. Again, average deluxe size. Knock him over. Average deluxe size, very big Voyager. You can see the size comparison here. But still, for a Voyager, this is a really, really solid size. And finally, guys, here's the comparison you've all been waiting for. Here he is with his brethren, Starscream and Thundercracker. Now, the major differences with these three, and I'll point them all out. So I'll try my best here with all three of them in the shot. So essentially, Thundercracker is the only one that has these wings down on the side. As you can see, he has his wings down on the side. Out of the three, he's the only one with that. Starscream is the only one with that face sculpt. As you can see, Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp have these little pistons that come out. Like they look like Plague Doctor face mask style things. Meanwhile, Starscream's, you can plainly see he does not have those. The other difference between them that makes Skywarp distinct is that he has that face sculpt the same as Thundercracker, but instead his wings are pointed up. So you can see the differences here. Now, it's not major differences, but they're subtle enough to where it's like I can see these being their distinct characters, right? Again, Skywarp has the wings down with the piston face sculpt. Thundercracker has the wings down with the piston face sculpt. Skywarp has the piston face sculpt with the wings up. Starscream has the wings up, but not the piston face sculpt. So overall, these three, man, I can't talk today. These three look fantastic together, and I cannot wait to put these all on the shelf. And the one thing I'll show off too, since I've got them all out here, Skywarp and Thundercracker and Starscream's guns are exactly the same, pretty much. Just this shade of blue is a little bit brighter. But as you can see with Skywarp's, it's this gray. Would have preferred a little bit of purple on this, but overall still looks really, really solid. It's very easy, by the way, to peg it in, so you do. All right, if you don't fall over, bud. Very easy to peg it in. You just have that peg right there, and then you have obviously the hand, and then you can just peg it right into the hand. So overall, again, I'm just very happy to finally have these three Seekers from the Bumblebee movie together, and these are going to go on my Bumblebee movie Decepticon shelf. So very, very excited for that. So they look great together. And alrighty, folks, time to get into the articulation, which is really solid. So removing this, his head is on the ball joint, so you get a full ball joint. You get a full 360. You can look up really, really far. You can't really look down though. Don't have an ab crunch. You can do full 360, but the wings get in the way. So it's a true full 360, but just the wings get in the way, and you would have to do that. Get the wings out of the way to do that. And by the way, you can articulate them like that, and the joint works here for the transformation as well for that. You have rotation at the upper part of the bicep. You have more than 90 at the elbow. The only thing here is that I wish this wasn't hollow. And you do technically get wrist in the sense of like, oh, you can do it up and down for transformation. For waist, you get very minimal. I mean, you can flare that out a bit, like the crotch piece, to get a little more range of motion, but not too much. You can kick. You can go out about this far with the arms, and then you can go in. I didn't show that, but with the legs, you can go out about that far. You can kick forward about that far. Back, but you need to move the wing, and it still goes off to the side. But you kick back about that far. You have 90 at the knee, upper rotation here at the thigh, and then you do have some really nice ankle rockers. So you can get some very nice wide poses out of this mold. It's just not necessarily the best articulation, just considering that the waist isn't the best, the arms and the legs get inhibited by the wings and the kibbliness of him, but at the same time, I understand this is the design, and this is very accurate to what we saw on screen for the very few short, minutes that we got that scene, in the very few bursts of animation that we saw when it came to these the Seekers. So overall, really solid. Just there are inhibiting factors to the articulation in particular, but still really solid all around. Alrighty, and with that all out of the way, time to get into the reverse transformation, which again I will not show. What I will say about the transformation is I do find going from robot to jet is a little more annoying than going from jet to robot. It's a bit fiddly, kind of all over the place in my opinion, but once you get it, it's really not too bad. It's just the first few times can definitely get a bit fiddly, like, oh, where does this go? Where does this go? But once you get used to it, it should be fine. And so we're going to take Skywarp from his robot mode. Alrighty folks, so for my final concluding thoughts on the Transformers Studio Series Voyager class Bumblebee movie Skywarp, this is a great figure. It's not perfect at all, but I do think that it is really, really good. I've always liked this mold. The only things that I find issues with it are that the gun is pretty loose in the Tetrajet mode. You can very easily knock off the like null ray things that he has on his wings, and that can also that he can that are attached to the wings. Also, he is a bit kibbly, and the articulation is a bit limited because of certain aspects of the kibbliness, but it's very accurate to the screen. It looks really good. It feels really good. The size is amazing. And when you have all three of them together, they just look fantastic. So overall, I think that this is a really, really solid figure and a really nice, variation of the mold that we've seen plenty of times, and finally nice to finally get the original three Seekers in their in toy form, right? And so out of a 10, I'm going to give this guy an 8, 7 or an 8. Thinking 8 is appropriate for this guy overall. Really, really solid stuff. So I did pick mine up on the Big Bad Toy Store, so I'll leave a link in the description to that. I'll also leave links to Amazon as well as Hasbro Pulse, so you guys can pick this guy up. Also, I imagine that this guy should be hitting retailers relatively soon, so definitely keep your eye out IRL if you decide to hunt like that, and I definitely wish you the best of luck in doing so if you decide to go that route. And so I think that is really it for this video, so I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends, and also follow me in the socials. Those will be linked in the description below. I once again thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video review, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.